Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. So as Valentine's approaches, for today's tutorial I have chocolate dipped apple slices. I tried to do these 2 years ago. It was a complete failure, but today I have all my tips and secrets for you. So let's get started. So to begin, here are my ingredients. I have 2 apples, I have some peanut pieces, I also have lemon juice, some shortening, and some almond bark. Remember to use melting chocolate and not chocolate chips. If you use chocolate chips, you're going to have to temper your chocolate, which means to bring it to temperature so that when it cools down, it also hardens. Since I didn't have the actual pieces of peanuts, I took some peanuts that I had and simply placed them into my food processor and just process them slightly to make them into little pieces. You don't have to use peanuts to top your apple slices. You can definitely use candy pieces. You can drizzle some other type of chocolate on top of your pieces. This is just an idea, and this is actually what I was craving for since I'm pregnant. I was craving the chocolate pieces on top. Another tip that I have for you is that if you are going to do chocolate covered apples, use apples that are a little bit more on the sour acidy side. I used Fuji apples and they're very sweet, so the sweetness of the apples and the chocolate made this treat a little bit too sweet for me. So that's just a heads up. Make sure you use apples that are a little bit on the sour side. Before getting to this part, remember that it's very important to wash your apples with warm water and make sure that you take a cloth and just scrub them dry to make sure that you remove any of the wax that is on the outside of the apple. For this next part, I'm using an apple corer. If you don't have this, you can definitely cut your apple by hand. What we're trying to do is make sure to take out the center piece, which is the core that has all the little seeds and the little plasticky parts of the seed casings. So just make sure to clean your apples, go ahead and remove the core so that we can begin to slice our apples. You can cut your apple slices as thin or as thick as you would like. And like I said here, remember to take out any of these little pieces of the core out because they will be a little bit annoying when you're trying to bite into them, especially if they're chocolate covered. So once you have removed all of the core, just go ahead and slice your apples. You can also use an apple slicer, which is a little round device that cuts every single little slice into an even piece. You don't have to do that, but if you want to get fancy, that's something that I recommend. As I mentioned in the beginning, we will be using lemon juice. The lemon juice is to preserve the apples a little bit longer. So if you're making these slices and you're eating them the same day or the next day, you can skip this step. But if you want them to last a few days, or if you're gifting them to someone, make sure to dip your already clean and cut slices in some lemon juice. This is going to help preserve the slices. Once you dip all of them, go ahead and lay them on a cookie sheet and place a paper towel on the bottom and then begin to pat them dry. We want to make sure the apples are as dry as possible because if there's any water or liquid on them, the chocolate is going to seize or break. For my choice of chocolate, I chose almond bark, and what I do is for every cup of chocolate, I add 1 tablespoon of shortening. You can also use 1 tablespoon of coconut oil instead, and we're going to melt this in a glass cup in 30-second intervals in the microwave. So after the first 30 seconds, take out your chocolate, mix it a little bit so it doesn't burn, place it back into the microwave for another 30 seconds and continue to mix. Usually 1 cup of chocolate will melt in 2 30-second intervals, and you won't need more than that. As you see here, I'm just simply stirring this big chunk that is left, and whatever is warm in the cup is going to help melt it. This is the consistency that you should have. It's very important to add in the shortening or the coconut oil because otherwise your chocolate is going to be too hard and it's going to harden before you're able to cover any of your apple slices. Now that we have everything ready, we're going to take 1 slice at a time. Be sure to have spare napkins on the side and make sure that every time, even though your slices should be already dry, take the napkin and dry the slice of apple that you're going to dip again, and make sure that where you poke it with the skewer is going to help us dip it. When you poke it with the skewer, clean the bottom where you made the hole, because there's going to be a little bit of liquid coming out, and that's going to possibly cause your apple to break, or rather the chocolate to break on your apple, and you don't want to do that. So you don't want to get any liquid into your chocolate. Once you have it on your skewer, just simply dunk it down. Don't be afraid, it's not going to fall. And also, once you take it out, make sure to kind of like shake off the excess a little bit and then top with your toppings. In this case, I'm using peanuts. What I did is I'm actually using the exact same skewer for all of my slices, because these are for my own consuming. So what I did is I have a nonstick cookie mat on the bottom. You can also use parchment paper, and just go ahead and with your fingers release the apple slice that's already dipped into your baking pan that is lined, and place it on there to dry. So here I'm just showing you again how we're dipping this apple slice, and simply remember to make sure to pat it dry. When you poke it, clean the bottom where the skewer enters, shake off the excess, and then take it over to add your toppings. As you'll see here in a little bit, you're going to see how I release the apple from the skewer. If you want to leave small toothpicks in, you can also do that, but I like to remove them while they're drying. It is a little bit messy on your fingers, but it's going to help to close the little hole with chocolate, and you don't have to do it later. If you leave the hole open, your apples are going to leak liquid once you go to store them or to give them to someone. So it's better to do like the release once they are still wet. Don't forget that in the description, I will leave everything that I used as far as materials, ingredients. If you don't have a non-stick silicone mat, you can also use parchment paper to allow your apples to dry. And as you can see here, all the little holes have been patched from where I poked the apple, because I released it while it was still wet and it was able to drip over the little hole. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you try it at home. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to give me a like, leave me a comment, share this video with a friend, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.